I stand firmly in the fact that I'm one of the best to ever do this. For the culture, for my coast, and for my city. This is the Best Rapper in LA podcast. And I am your host, Murs. What up, though? Yo, Brilla 71, Best Rapper in LA 71. This is about the song with the instrumental for the whole podcast. We've been hearing this for 71 episodes. Man, I don't know if I'm on my period or is it just emotional time in my life, but I've been thinking about this and certain things. I had a couple losses personally and some wins. We won the LA Galaxy, won the MLS Cup.
And he can just go to the corner and try to see out MLS Cup to Royce and Fagundes, and that is the final whistle. It is now over. The Los Angeles Galaxy have won their 6th MLS Cup.
Shout out to Adam Serrano, who worked for the Galaxy. He brought me in because I have a lot of fans that are supporters of the club. Supporters mean the fans. It's like for American people who don't understand soccer, like there's supporter groups who stand up the whole time, chant, make huge flags, tifos, those big signs you say, like our supporters are dope. They made tifos for me, like huge things that cover the whole fan section, like enormous parts of the stadium. They did one for Doom, like larger than a house type shit. And they do the art themselves and spend out of their pockets and spend hours and days, and they pregame, they bring kids, they bring food, and they feed everyone basically for free, and beer and shots, anything you want. And I wasn't aware that I seen this in like the way Southern people do college football, but to another level. Because there is no student section. We all have regular lives, and we choose to make the club that important. The soccer, that's the team, we say club. And Adam, I've been loosely affiliated since 2008. This is my first match I went to, but Adam brought me into this family where I was addicted and, the different groups, supporters groups, and shout out to all of them. Get to know them by name, and our kids play soccer together before the matches. My kids took soccer lessons at the LA Galaxy Stadium, so much so that when they first went to their first match, they could remember. They're like, oh, this team gets to play on our field. Like they thought it was like, it feels like home to them. They had a president. We had a president that the supporters weren't very fond of. And I didn't understand because I haven't been a fan of the sport that long and I haven't been with the team as long as some of these people have been. They thought he was bad for business. They kept telling the front office to do it, and then the front office sneakily announced they extended his contract for 5 years. They're owned by AEG, who owns like Live Nation, I think, or rival to Live Nation, something like that. They own like crypto or whatever. I don't know. They own big shit. Very, very, very wealthy European family or company who have, rewarded me and paid me to come out and perform and do things over the years.
We are the city's foundation when it comes to this sport. The undisputed champs, and we refuse to have our reign cut short. The crest on our chest we wear with pride. 5-star generals, ain't no new recruits on this side. But we know the postseason ain't all about what we've accomplished before. We're ready to get put to the test, to prove we the best, as we continue our quest for more. More wins, more haters, from old rivals to new neighbors. All that talk is just fuel for the fire that inspires us to be greater. Greatest of all time, it's facts. Just check the stats. 18 times to the playoffs, and this year we fought our way back. Led by a lion and a legacy of legends, we lead the league in trophies, the best ever.
The supporter groups, which I could be mistaken, at least 7,000 of them are us. I'm not in any one group, but they're like, we're boycotting. So like, I was with them. I'm like, all right, this is what we're doing because this is how I wish. I'm telling this story because I think it's relevant now. This type of community can exist outside of sports. We boycotted. My good friend lost his job, I feel like, over this because he wanted the same thing as the people wanted, and they punished him for that. They fired the dude finally because boycott me. They didn't go to any games. So all the flags, all the noise, all the drums, none of that was there. Sometimes they would stand silent. Sometimes no one went. Like, it was empty and it looked bad on TV. It sounded bad on TV. The message was felt by the higher ups, by the billionaire corporation. We made them feel it. They made the change. The next season, we win the whole fucking thing. We haven't won in 10 years. You listen to the people, you win. Or we make you listen and we win. The players, the people who work in the front office, they come and go. Our community stands. Some of the people in the supporters groups just DM me, they buy my music, or they just call to check in on me and my kids. It's a community that I found that I love, and whatever side of this fucking political bull disaster you're on, make sure you have that community human support and get to work. Be willing to make the sacrifice. We love going to matches. It doesn't help us to not go to matches. Our rival is across town enjoying matches in a newer stadium. It was special to see that work. So when we won, like, the tears started coming, and I'm standing with my son who, I took him to his first match when he was 3 years old. And I had the pictures of that and the pictures of me and him standing. Even though he made a friend, and he was hunting to stand with his friends during the match. He honored me with a picture. That means something to me. Me and him have been in that stadium for 9 years or whatever, waiting for this moment. But it was great to win. Like, I'm not winning. I'm not on the team. I know that feeling. Like, I didn't win, but we won because this is a sport where we actually made a change that we knew would work, or that they knew would work. I didn't know shit, but I had the homies back. And for me too, like, being a celebrity, like, it was easy for me. I've gotten offers from, I won't even say name, but I've gotten offers for $25K to do things that were against my club. And I said, no, I stand with my community because it's bigger than that. It's bigger than money. And standing against the team squad, like, I still haven't been welcomed back by the front office of that club. But I'm with the people. Like, I came in through the front office, really, and I stayed for the people because I love our folks. We're knuckleheads sometimes. We're rowdy, whatever, but we love each other and we love the game. And that's just the power community I wanted to talk about. Maybe we'll cut it. But this still like, because we're going to get in a funeral for a killer, that this is, my community is a bunch of Crips and pimps and nerds and Christians from different backgrounds, but we all hung out on Cloverdale, which is a block on Midtown, 1300 block Cloverdale. I can say it now because we've been gentrified the fuck out of there. But we had each other's back.
And who cries when the killer dies? Is it justified when tears fill your eyes? The funeral for a killer, the death of a real nigga. And who cries when the killer dies? Is it justified when tears fill your eyes? The funeral for a killer, down the ride till he died with his finger on the trigger. Went to the casket and I looked in, same type of box that our enemies got put in. And he the motherfucker put him there. Came to say goodbye to my brother, but he wasn't there. Staring at his mother in the front row, black dress, hair the same color as some gun smoke. Homies in the back like, look at what they done, low. Can't even talk without feeling like I'm gonna choke. We all mad than a motherfucker. Side chick crying, doing bad than a motherfucker. Wife just sitting there, she ain't shed a tear, cause he put her through so much hell when he was here. And all I'm hearing is revenge and regret. One useless emotion and the other leads to death. You ain't seen enough of that yet. Try to tell them, but you can't talk sense to the deaf. They like, fuck you, cuz you ain't even from the set. Nigga, fuck you too. Said it under my breath. Cause we don't need no more drama. Feeling guilty cause I still get to hug my mama, And who cries when the killer dies? Is it justified when tears fill their eyes? The funeral for a killer. The death of a real nigga.
The man that this song is about, I've said before, I met him in the 9th grade. He was from a crew called Nothing But Trouble, MBT. There's a lot of dope rappers, writers, b-boys, skaters. Like, it was a prep gang, so everybody wasn't fully there. You don't want to say artsy, but fashion forward. Like, they had the Negro League jackets. They looked like it was different. Some of the people were on their way to being gangsters. Some of the people were stuck between art and hip hop and gang. It was just a young black men rascals. You know what I mean? It wasn't life or death per se as Bloods and Crips. It was serious, and there's killers on both sides. I'm talking about one of them right now. But it was rooted in graffiti and tag banging. Like, it was still rooted in hip hop culture. And we weren't, I think a lot of us weren't hip to the fact, like, we thought hip hop was some fucking peace, love, hippie shit. We weren't hip to the history with the Black Spades, and a lot of our favorite B-boys, rappers, DJs were stick-up kids and dust heads and killers and you know, excuse my French, but like niggas with hands and like, you know what I mean? We were made to think that was separate, but hip hop is a street culture, and it was built by street kids, street organizers, if you will, community organizers. But when I was living in the San Gabriel Valley, like my stepfather was a hood dude, a hustler, whatever, crack, weed, coke. He would have his homies still from the hood. So like and his homies would bring their little kids. So the little kids would be little dudes. We'd be talking about graffiti and what's going on in LA. Cause I was a hood. Like, I missed the neighborhood. What's going on? Like, and you know, I'm from trouble. Okay. Oh, I could put you on. Like, if you come to Word on Wheels on this, blah, blah, blah. I thought it was somebody from the church group or one of my step pop's little homies or homie's little son. I was like, okay, trouble, nothing but trouble gang. Like, we do this. I don't know if it was called Bullocks or Macy's or whatever, May Company, like ran up at May Company, Rat Pack, ran whatever, talking about buses, and he showed me a little bus hammer that he ripped off the bus. It was the coolest thing ever. And I just seen, like, you know, Juice, I was ready for all that type of behavior, and it was still hip hop. They were tagging, and, you know, we were freestyle, like things like that. I was like, okay, got you. I'm in. When I'm gonna do like a lock in at World on Wheels or whatever they were doing, a lock in, some skate thing, and I was gonna get put on. It never happened because we had to hightail it and you know, to out of the house, and we moved back to Midtown. And I remember walking up to the house that we got, and in the driveway, in blue spray paint, it was MBT crossed out, Fairfax Posse Gang, fuck Bubbles and blah, blah. I was like, oh, but yeah, in our driveway, I was like, man, if I got put on MBT, this would have been a bad move. Cause I didn't know where my life was fit to take me. So I was like, damn, all right, well, glad I didn't do that. Then I went to winter session where I met this dude, and let's just call him P. I met P, and the dude was like, yo, you rap? Yeah, I do beats, I rap, blah, blah. I started talking hip hop, and then he's like, yeah, I write this from Trouble. I was like, oh shit, I was almost Trouble. You know, such and such. Yeah, I know such and such. What's up? Blah, blah, blah. You was gonna get put on? Yeah. I was like, now I live over, blah. Oh yeah, nah. Cause like, you know, he laughed. And then the shooting that happened at Fairfax during winter session kind of canceled everything. So we went back to our corners. Years later, I meet my best friend T. Smith. We're at Pulp Fiction. I'm with some homies, and you know, the Log Cabin homies, they don't want to see Pulp Fiction. I see T, who I know from the neighborhood. We don't know each other, but we see each other at the record store. We see each other because I walk up Cloverdale, I walk up Meadowbrook. I'm walking around the hood, my rollerblades, whatever. He know me. He's like, hey, you look like little boy, like, what you doing up here? It's like, oh man, I'm trying to see Pulp Fiction, but these niggas don't want to go see it. He's like, hey, you can stay and we'll give you a ride home. Since then, I've been like Cloverdale the rest of my life. And so then out in front of T's house one day, I see P, and I'm like, yo, what you doing here? And they're like, you know him? I'm like, yeah, I know him. That's the homie from Trouble. And they didn't even know he wrote graffiti. And they're like, from Trouble? Like, what you mean? He do, because he was like outside. He was in the streets. He had the red Jeep from Self-Destruction that Heavy D had. He had that Jeep.
You don't have to be soft to be for peace. Robbing and killing and murdering is the least. You don't have to be chained by the beast. But party people, it's time I release. Hey yo, here's the situation. Idiocy, nonsense, violence, not a good policy. Therefore, we must ignore fighting and fussing. Heaven's at the door, so there'll be no bum rushing. Let's get together because we're falling apart. I heard a brother shot another, it broke my heart. I don't understand the difficulty, people. Love your brother, treat him as an equal.
He was still in high school. Had his own apartment in the back of his mom's apartment complex because he was wilding out. Just came home from camp. Oh, that's right. He went to camp. I think somebody I knew, Camp Kilpatrick. Anybody know about? Like where they took black kids off the street and then made them play football. There's a movie about it, I think Gridiron Gang or something. Exhibit, The Rock. I never seen it, but I remember man, it was like that right there got me more into the streets because I was like, I love Pop Warner football. Like, at that point, I really loved violence and the opportunity to be violent. Sanctioned violence was even better. But I was like, oh, if I get caught writing or selling weed or fucking somebody up, they gonna send me to a camp where I get to fight niggas and play football? Shit. And I don't know if they did that on purpose because that's when like the big homie started being like, hey, yo, chip this nigga off and the worst that's gonna happen, cuz, is you finna go to Camp Kilpatrick or, go to YA, What to us to get stretched to YA, hit the hood swole.
You was just a little smaller, but you still roll. Got stretched to YA and hit the hood swole. Remember when you had a Jerry curl, didn't quite learn. On the block with your Glock, tripping off Sherm.
That's like you gonna get bigger. You know what I'm saying? Your hand-to-hand combat skills will be refined. And you be home anyway. Because like a lot of us didn't have girlfriends. We wasn't fucking. We wasn't missing nothing. But, I said a lot of us, a lot of them, because I never got. But that was in my mind like, well, shit, this ain't shit if I get caught. And it gets expunged, or I believe it got expunged. Because before they start charging minors like adults. This is great, bro. So he had been to Camp Kilpatrick, and we talked about that. And he had an SP-1200, use his money that he was getting from ancillary revenue. Possibly illegal. He's gone, so there's no case, but possibly illegal business. And he bought an SP, and first song that samples was he sampled a Saphir sample. The first day, or when he heard it, that's all he would tap was this part where Saphir said his rap name. Not on purpose, but he said a line that had his rap name in it, and he would hit it. So he had an SP, he had a car. He was like, he was a legend. So, eventually the graffiti stopped and trouble stopped, and he kind of just got into hustling and hip hop. And that was my dude, but definitely with the way he was about SPs and hip hop, he was also about guns. Like before you could really, on our level, have access to like the laser pointer, like the red beams. Like he ordered laser pointers from inside some magazine, tech magazine, and then would tape them to his guns and like adjust it. Like he was a scientist with weaponry. I could go on stories for days about him. But, as I started touring, I got more into like the backpack scene. I moved to the Bay. And he started having kids, and now I understand what that means. If you don't have kids, you will probably never understand what that changes about your friend. I understood, I respected it, but I didn't have an understanding. There, you can respect it, but you won't ever understand it. And he had 3 girls that he was obsessed with over the time span of me going to the Bay and really like building up my rap name. He still had to support them, which he wasn't working a regular job, so he had to, do what he had to do. But once again, he was the type of dude that take the girls to school or daycare, and he's on the block, pick the girls up from daycare, drop them off, bathe them, put them to bed, and he's back outside. That's the kind of person he was. He wasn't a deadbeat by a long shot. All 3 babies with the same wonderful woman. So there's a moral compass. Like he could have been a cop for all intents and purposes. For me, he was a cop because I couldn't trust the police. But if I ever had a problem, there's a story on Ali's album where I talk about bad motherfucker. And I said, I'll make one phone call and this month.
There's a standoff, and it's like a Russian dude, an old black pimp dude, some gangster black dude, some Armenian dude, like a motley crew, literally like a weirdo but street angry grown-ass men against me and Dibs and Art and the God Loves Ugly crew. And it's like a line, and I walk in between them, and I just start going off. Like, cuz, blood, like, motherfucker, I'm gonna get on the phone, and I'm gonna make everybody cry. I'm just talking crazy. I'm mad. This is my hometown. I'm about to call the homies. But, like, the old pimp dude had a piece or something, like a gun or something, and it was about to jump off, and then he goes like, oh, ain't you Brother Ali? Brother Ali, you a bad motherfucker, man. That was in, and it squashed the whole beef.
That was my guy, bro. He, grenades, rocket launch, whatever. I knew he had the artillery and the coldest heart possible when it came to fucking with people he loved. And he always said, I do my dirt all by my lonely. Shout out to Tretch.
Somebody told me that you owe me, but can't nobody hold me. I do my dirt all by my lonely.
recognized what my heart was and was like, nope. But when he left and he came back, you know, the repercussions were felt in the streets. So I always had that. And it was never like one of these things where it was extortion or he was my security guard or I had to pay, or we were like family, like bros, like that was it. You touched me and we dusting off everything. So when we had that altercation outside the Roxy, I believe it was with Ali, I was like, man, look, I stood in between. I was like, cause I got hot. I came out of the club and I saw somebody pressing Jay Bird and Brother Ali. I'm like, nigga, the fuck? I said, hey, cuz, like, I'll get on this phone and I might get out if I make this call, everybody's crying. I don't like, you know, because I never called him over. I had all kind of rap beats, but I would never involve in that. But this was some old crazy, old pimp, some Eastern European mob looking dude. I was like, oh shit, I'm out of my depth. I know who to call. And you know, even if I go down, like I said, it will be talked about. The Roxy may not have been standing. And I do not exaggerate. Yeah, this is going to be a tough one. And he died that way. Like somebody was fucking with the homies, little homies, went to a funeral for one of their homies that had unfortunately taken their lives. The little homies was in high school. One of the homies was a little bit drunk, like, you know, because they don't ever say to black kids or brown kids, hey, I don't even know if they do to white kids, like, hey, your friend, because we were the Gen X, like they just threw us out, bro. Hey, someone in your class, your classmate took their own life. Maybe we need to skip math, one period, maybe PE, or everybody will rotate and get you guys someone to talk to over the next couple weeks. Just 3 or 4 visits to check in with you guys. No, so they don't have access to therapy or mental health tools, but they have access to alcohol and weed and guns. So this one of the young men that went, and the thing was, like, from the homie's family, we had a suit that we called the OJ suit that I believe he wore on trial. One of the homies' uncles was friends with OJ when he got, I think it was the suit maybe he got acquitted in, and he gave that suit to him and he gave it to our block. So then we had one pair of shoes that if you need to go to a fancy club, everybody could borrow. We had one suit that if you had a court date or a funeral, you could use that suit. So one of the little homies used the OJ suit to go to the thing. He's not in the streets like that. He's around us, but he's not like that. But he went with some dudes who are really like that at the time, some young dudes. Because some of these little dudes are still making their choice, and I watched them be forced to make the other choice. Some of these little boys were hustlers, highly intelligent, great basketball players, but I watched them do the, you know, outside forces be forced to make this choice, and this is one of those days that forced a choice. One of them was a little drunk going to the thing. They took the bus to another neighborhood. And at the funeral, he was kind of out of pocket. The dudes from the neighborhood was like, hey, check him, get him under control. Homeboy didn't turn it down. So one of the little homies runs out and calls P. It's like, yo, I don't know if we're going to make it out this motherfucker. Cuz up here tripping. He said, all right, I'm going to come get y'all. Because they took the bus. So he came up to get him. They had a shootout at the funeral. And they shot the homie in the back of the head. I get the call. He's on life support at Daniel Freeman, which is across from the Inglewood Cemetery, which was a hospital across from Inglewood Cemetery. He's on life support at Daniel Freeman, where my brother's best friends, both of them are buried. My stepfather's buried, and my first son is buried. My firstborn son is buried. So, is a spot. He's fighting for his life across the street from where I would go on to bury numerous people I love. Talk to him, I whisper in his ear, I hold his hand, I tell him. So when he was in the streets, like, I would check in every now and then, and one of these times I needed a ride. I still didn't have a car, but I had 100, 200, 300 tapes to sell to Amoeba. So I said, ride with me, I'll get the hotel, I'll pay for food, we just get to kick it, we'll talk about building a label and maybe working on a record. He drove me up there. He saw how much money same thing, like similar story when E40 tells a story when his Uncle St. Charles sent them to Great America to record, it's an amusement park, to record a song in the studio for like $25. Like they had these little studio booths back in the day where you could go record actual songs. He took that song and pressed it and like I think turned it into 10 grand. And when E40 said, from his own mouth to my ears at his house, he told me, it's just like, when I saw that, I never touched dope again. And I just showed my homie, like, look, I took these 300 tapes because he used to see me at Terry House on the rug. Like, I would sit there and scissors, camped out on the floor, just dubbing tapes, folding up things. 300 of these motherfuckers. Like, motherfuckers bag up dope, but it's not even as quick as crack or weed. Because I've bagged up pounds of weed. I've been around motherfuckers bagging up dope. It's harder. But it's legal. So he saw me turn these 300 tapes. He saw the respect. Shout out to me for always treating me with respect. I got from the quote unquote white people at the store. He was like, oh shit, this could be something, you know? But he was already in a way where I don't believe 40 of them had a like huge family. He was already two daughters in at this point. So it's kind of hard. Like if he was just still hustling, I think it would have been an instant change, but he had a lot to think about. And I remember coming back from there, we almost died. He was talking to me, we were smoking, and a car in front of us slammed on his brakes on the 5. I said, hey, cuz, like, and he just like yanked the wheel and yanked it back on the road. And he's like, I'll never forget that. I owe you my life. Because if you didn't like wake me, like get my attention, I would have definitely ran right into the back. And he was flying. Like he, definitely the speed. Many other laws didn't apply to him. The speed limit was another one that was very, very low on the list of. Homicide was not a law he felt applied to him. So definitely the speed limit was not one. And I think that's another thing too. Is like when you're adjacent to the culture, people will like criticize my authenticity. It's not, bro. Like there's guns, whatever in the car. We're driving from LA to the Bay. I cannot tell this man don't bring your gun. I cannot tell this man don't bring your work materials. Whatever. I didn't ask him what contraband is in the car. And one of the homies that is buried at Inglewood Mortuary was riding from the East Coast to the West Coast with guns in the car. They flipped the car. He woke up handcuffed to the fucking bed in a coma. Probably didn't get the correct treatment because they were too busy prosecuting him because both of them were unconscious. They don't know whose dope and guns was in the car. So me risking my life or my freedom for my brothers is a real thing. So if I want to say cuz, or I want to say, get the fuck away from me with that bullshit about I was never put on, or I don't give a fuck. The police don't give a fuck. Just like this whole who's black and who's not. That was another moment with this dude. And then like I said too, like he didn't have to drive me 5 hours to the Bay and 5 hours back to get this money. I paid him something. I paid for the gas. I gave him a percentage of the money, but like he had kids, but it is a for real brotherhood. So I'm whispering in his ear, like, on that trip we had talked so much, and I just wanted to get 316 out of the way and establish my brand as me, step away from Def Jux and do this record label with him. We already had a group ready. I was sending the money back from tour. We were working on it. And I said, come on, cuz, like, we gotta do. I'm whispering in his ear, holding his hand, like, please come back. Like, we really have to do this now. It is time. And I feel like I waited too long. But 316 wouldn't, and it's the sacrifice. Like, I don't know if that was the sacrifice I made at that point, but I could have done it after end of the beginning. But I was like, when the ninth was only supposed, he said on the internet, like, he was only supposed to do some remix EPs because everybody on Def Jux had their remix EP. Canox, Aesop Rock, RJ. This was supposed Ninth Wonder on my remix EP, just like he remixed Godson. That was it. And it just turned into, I work quick, he worked quick, 5 days, we got our, it just turned into what it turned into. And that set back the moment that we could set our record label into motion. But I, begging him. He didn't come back. And even before then, I always said, like, is it, people say it's a tragedy. Is it a tragedy when a warrior kills another warrior? When people die on the battlefield, is it tragic or is it war? Is it honorable? Like, is it some Viking shit? Do we honor them like they honor Viking warriors, or do we complain about the system and the blah, blah, blah? Like, I won't say it's willingly. Some of us have no choice when we choose this path. It's a hard choice to stay out of the way. It's a hard choice to get in the way, full swing. The motherfuckers in the middle that are bullshitting, fuck them. But if you commit to this street life, that's not an easy decision to make. If you're a motherfucker that's all into whatever they do, staying away from it is hard. It's hard choices that no human being should have to make. But unfortunately, as Americans, black, formerly enslaved, descendants of enslaved Africans in America, we have to make some tricky choices. It's a fucking full-time juggling act. To this day, I dance around these words on this podcast every week, thinking somebody's gonna send something to somebody, or for me also like laws that have been broken and shit that I have been privy to. Like there's so much, or who I'm gonna piss off, or it's if you're not watching carefully in the media, white dude can say something. Yeah, black dude can say something. White dude could do something. And it's all who you say it to, who's saying it, and who you're doing it to means a lot in this country. The laws are not set in stone. He didn't come back. I even before this was debating, is it even honorable to the person who laid down their life to say it's tragic, it's an injustice, black on black crime or whatever, or is it just a war and we give him a warrior's, And I can cry because I'm not a warrior. I picked up the pen and tried to stay away from this shit. Me and him had some really hard conversations with a couple of my homies where it was just like, I had a homie that got locked up and we used to play the game where we go leche and we squeeze on some, you squeeze, titty twisters and shit like that. All of a sudden, we did that shit all the time. Also, hey, cuz, don't sex play me, nigga. And I'm like, whoa, where did that come from? All right. Then I'm watching motherfuckers turn real gangbangers. I'm like, I thought we were tagging. Now you mean to tell me we used to talk shit about these motherfuckers, and now you telling me that you're with them because of X, Y, and Z? Man, fuck. What you saying about the hood now? I'm like, yo, like you just switched. All right. I always stress it like we are friends no matter what you choose because I know who you are. If you want to double down on that shit, hey, bro, I said you still gangbanging? Well, that's retro. But if you really down for it, then respect, bro.
I was born in the Midtown Metro. My pops fighting with the Crips living next door. You still gangbanging? That's retro. But if you really down for it, then respect, bro.
That, when, even with the motherfuckers like we talked about here, like standing one for the flag and shit, if you want to die for some shit, and especially if I love you, I'm not gonna take that fade with you, but I will respect and support your decision because we are friends before that shit. That is brotherhood. So they got with that shit. I couldn't get with that shit. And the way he died he was protecting the little homies. He wasn't getting killed by rivals because out of spite or a blood feud. It's not a territory war. Hopefully I've said that on spite. If anyone is out there believing that Bloods and Crips, that gang violence in Los Angeles is about taking over new territory, stop it. It's not about money no more. It is a blood feud, a legitimate war. I don't want to spend my tax dollars jailing motherfuckers that agreed to kill each other. Let them kill each other. We don't jail Ukrainian and Russian soldiers if they stay within the rules of war. There's rules to that shit. Apply the rules and code or whatever y'all do to war. And what is a war crime? Cool. I think involving women and children is a war crime. Rape and all those things would be war crimes. But if these motherfuckers want to have at it with their enemies, why are we spending tax dollars to lock them up? Because it's a business for you. For them, it's a war. For you, it's a business. And war is always great business for America. I digress. Him going down and leaving the transitioning, as they say, I didn't know how to feel about it. I kind of like made up my mind, like, all right, you live by the gun, you die. Eventually, it's going to happen. I have to accept that is a real, or not eventually, it could happen. I have to accept that as a reality. But it's just like, I'm watching my grandparents deteriorate. Something's coming. And I don't know. I can't say it doesn't, if it makes it easier or not. I'll let you know. This case, I don't know what it'd been like. If he lived to his 80, I'd still hate to see him go. Legend has it that this is a dude I would let call, like he need to call his wife or his future wife, his baby's mother on three-way, I would do it. He needed to call another chick, I would do it. That was back when they collect call, and I'm on AOL trying to download a Jay-Z album illegally. And the other line, I would tie it up and just let him talk, keep it on speakerphone. He was like, or I would just come back and check. Hey, cause I'm done. All right, cool. Hang up on that bitch. Blah, blah, blah. I all that, bro. Money on the books, calls, all that with me and him. And a couple of other homies. I've been through it with them. Side chick or whatever, like him coming home and he can't stay at home with his babies because I don't understand the probation, parole shit. So he's staying with the homie, so I gotta go do this for him with the babies. Like all that shit, man. That was me, that brotherhood. It was real. Even though I disagree with the path he was taking. I'm not saying like, oh, you in jail. I told you was gonna go to jail, nigga. I ain't nah.
The death of a real nigga. He loved his loved ones, and he loved guns, but disrespect the fam, that's when the slugs come. He caught a couple bodies, but they deserved it though. He was a righteous dude, far as murders go, and he could switch quick between day and night. Cross the line and you would have to pay the price. And we was friends since the 9th grade. True gangster did everything the right way. So why I feel so wrong with the homeboy gone, days feel so long. That's why we cry when the killer dies. Tattooed tears so we can see the world with clearer eyes. And who cries when the killer dies? Is it justified when tears fill your eyes? The funeral for a killer, the death of a real nigga. And who cries when the killer dies? Is it justified when tears fill your eyes? The funeral for a killer down the ride till he died with his finger on the trigger. And this is for the realest dude I ever known. I'm never writing you another song. Yeah, it's been a while since you've been gone. Mother and your brother, everybody barely holding on. I ain't gonna say that you was never wrong. If you was here, then your girls would have a better home. Mirror on the block, your name set in stone. You still living cause you died as a legend, Holmes. And who cries when the killer dies? Is it justified when tears fill your eyes? The funeral for a killer, the death of a real nigga. And who cries when the killer dies? Is it justified when tears fill your eyes? The funeral for a killer down the ride till he died with his finger on the trigger.
So the funeral, the song's about the funeral, which I kind of like knew was coming. For, when someone chooses this life, when you have a soldier, a funeral, someone goes to war, they may not make it back. You prepare for that in your mind, even if the war is right in your backyard. There are a lot of people overseas living this reality daily in a much more tremendously real way. She didn't cry. I won't say that she's relieved. I can't speak for her. I'm at the funeral boo-hooing like, niggas like, hey, cuz, come on. Hey, don't let them niggas see you like that, cuz. Because, the niggas from the hood, that wasn't his nigga. I am his dude. I'm his brother. They are his gang friends. They, stone face, because that's what they do. Like, I don't follow that code, bro. Like, I'm not part of that part. I don't have a heart like a killer because I'm not a killer. But other little homies like, hey, cuz, don't let them niggas see you like that. Niggas is looking at you. I don't give if I gave a fuck about them, I probably would have joined the gang. I don't care about none of this shit. This shit is fucked up. It's sad. Like I said, is it an injustice? I don't know. When a warrior dies, and I guess that's what they're saying. Like, they keep their head up, and because they're, I'm different, bro. I know the little babies. I was taking them to the daycare. I was moving them in and out. They had to move the next day. They had to move into a new apartment. You know, I'm in 6-0 hood, coming up the stairs, talking to niggas like, hey, cuz, like, or I didn't, you know, I'm not cussing nobody. I'm on my P's and Q's, but they like, hey, cuz, like he was a solid nigga. You could come in and up out of here. You know what I'm saying? I know you're going to be up in that and you good, bro. We understand. And that's another thing too, is like when you get into the street things, just like rap, you know, some, you know, people come back like, oh, I didn't know you knew such and such. Like in this rap shit, I'm like that. He was like that in the streets where niggas from other hoods like, oh, I know who it is. I know what happened. That's fucked up. We got you, bro. You're not out here with these little babies. We got you. Don't even trip. But our neighborhood don't get along with them usually. But there was a respect. There amongst the real ones, there is a respect. There is a code somewhere deep under all this shit. So I'm crying for so many reasons, man. His family, one of his family members wasn't allowed to attend because he was in the feds. Even though I was finna pay for him, the feds wouldn't allow it. Out of spite. His mama like, it's gonna cost this much. I got it. He gotta be here for this. Nope. I'm crying for him. The nigga who caused all this shit is here. I'm mad. I'm in my, the truest definition of in my feelings, bro. I'm supposed to like dry my eyes because some other niggas is looking, judging me. I don't give a fuck. What you mean? You gonna call me a sissy, a baby? That you already do, you know what I'm saying? The F word, whatever, bro. Also at the time, like look at him, you know, moms. If you put other people through this, do you deserve tears when it's your turn? Philosophically speaking. I always thought that I might feel an inkling of like give back. Like I have some violent tendencies, you know? Nah. That day I decided like I could never put anybody's family through what I saw his family and what I was going through. I'm not even his blood relative. And I feel away. I could never. I thought I wouldn't. Like I may walk like a man. I thought, now I know I could never. I could never. Should I have forced him to go on tour with me? Should I have not done 316? That's another thing. I'm feeling guilt. Should we have put out the record sooner? Should I, you know, like, should I have not done that last tour? Should I let him move in with me? Like, all these things, man.
Can't even talk without feeling like I'm gonna choke. We all mad in a motherfucker. Side chick crying, doing bad than a motherfucker. Wife just sitting there, she ain't shed a tear, cause he put her through so much hell when he was here. And all I'm hearing is revenge and regret. One useless emotion and the other leads to death.
Can't even talk without feeling like I'm gonna choke. That just back to rap, like I always hated that line. I should have said, can't even talk, feel like I want to choke. And that's usually where Ninth comes in, but I think the song was so personal, he didn't step in. Can't even talk, feel like I'm gonna choke. I feel like I want to choke, but I sound like it's all corny. It's the girl in Toronto that came up to me after the show. Was like, do you think black people don't like your music because you enunciate? Probably fucking so. Probably fucking so. Telling a gangster ass story, and then who cries when the killer dies? It justified with tears fill your eyes. The funeral death of a real nigga. Can't even talk without feeling like I'm going to choke. It's so awkward. It's a stumbling block in this song that I always hated, and I couldn't figure it out. But I think I was too much in my feelings. Homies in the back, look what they done low. Wife just sitting there, she ain't shed a tear because he put her through so much hell when he was here, in and out of jail, blah blah blah, infidelity, blah blah blah. And I love like I'm back to rapping, like, because he put in so much hell when I'm here, and all I'm hearing is revenge and regret. One useless emotion, and the other leads to death. Like, you can't regret shit. And we did that's a play on the words because he was on the song with me, No Regrets, on Good Music. So I put that in there as a reference to that song that I did with him, but also, yes, regret is a useless emotion.
Keep your soul over mind, mind over body. Basic survival tactics in my mind, I pack it. Never know what you got until it's gone. No excuses, your own.
But I was telling you, like, I'm feeling guilty. I'm regretting not putting the record out with them. One useless an emotion and the other leads death. And I'm like, y'all niggas, man, y'all ain't seen enough of it. Like, I'm saying, like, I don't want to, how could you make anyone want to feel like his mama feel right now? It's not going to bring him back. And that's what I want more than anything, for not just for me. That's what I'm saying. It's not selfish. Not that we was hanging out. I didn't smoke weed. He smoked weed. I didn't like fuck with bitches like that. I didn't go to the places he went to, but his babies, bro. I missed the music we could have made, but more than that, I missed the father that he was, because he wasn't pick up every third Thursday type of dude. He was an every fucking day dad. And I love, like, my kids just finished flag football season. There's so many black dads out there that I've built, I won't say a friendship, but acquaintanceships with and a relationship with over watching our kids play sports every weekend and picking them and bringing them to practice. That wasn't the norm at this time. It's the norm now. But so for us to lose a good black father to young black women, still, I'm fucking crushing this tissue box in front of me. That's what I'm feeling. They like, fuck you, cuz you ain't even from the set. Nigga, fuck. And it's hard for me, you know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes, you know, you have to know when to turn it down. And I was like, all right. We're here because somebody acted up at a funeral. What do I look like acting up with y'all niggas over a funeral? And that's the thing, too. Motherfuckers always pick the time and place. Because we don't need no more drama feeling guilty because I still get to hug my mama. I cried when I fucking wrote that. That survivor's guilt, the success that I had, and all the things that made me feel guilty. But that part, oh, man. We're going to end it there. I got to go pick up the kids.
Cause we don't need no more drama, feeling guilty cause I still get to hug my mama, And who cries when the killer dies? Is it justified when tears fill their eyes? The funeral for a killer.
Thank you to everyone listening. Shout out to the homie Platinum Max on a lighter note. He's a dope wrestler for AEW, but he also puts out one of the most consistent artists. So I get to listen to more of him than I do anybody else. It just reminds me of good underground rap, and I love him for that. And he listens to the podcast sometimes. So shout out this week just goes out to Platinum Max. If you want to check out some wrestle rap or just some dope indie hip hop, check him out. All right, y'all. Thanks for listening to the Best Rapper in LA podcast. Make sure you subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Make sure you never miss an episode by subscribing on Spotify, Apple, wherever it is. If you like the show, leave a review on Apple Music or Spotify. And to support the podcast directly, go to patreon.com/MURS316, Murs316. See y'all next week. Peace.